Last year in Britain, we bought 19,000 brand new Mercedes C-Classes. And it's easy to see why. Fast, good looking, and oodles of luxury, you could say that the new C-Class ticks all the boxes. However, the new one costs £45,000, and that got me thinking, would it be better to buy an older but cheaper C-Class? That is why I just bought this. This is a 2011 Mercedes C-Class C180, and this didn't cost me £45,000. This cost me £8,500. I don't know about you guys, but I would say that this is the best looking Mercedes ever made. Can't think any to mind that are better looking than this one. Maybe the old 300 SL. And I have bought this car to see how it compares to the new one. Specifically, the C200. Firstly, let's see how good is the interior. The first thing you'll notice is Mercedes engraved in the doorwell. That dashboard, those lush beige leather seats, the two-tone steering wheel, you even get AMG wheels and carpets. Although the interior may not be as fancy as the big LED screens you get in the new C-Class, don't be fooled in thinking that this has dinosaur technology, because you will find that this car has an automatic gearbox, electric seats, cruise and traction control. The wing mirrors fold in and out automatically when you open and lock the car. Headlight washers. You can control the heads-up display either by buttons on the dashboard or using this knob on the center console. At the front, you have sensors which beep at you when you get too close to another car. The same story is the same at the back when reversing. In fact, it does beg the question, what does the new car have that this car doesn't? In fact, when I researched what technological advancement the new car has over this one, I only came up with one thing, and that's the fact the new car has a lot more driver aids than this. So if you're a lazy, incompetent sack of pudding that relies on driver aids to drive a car, then this isn't for you. This car gets driven by men who rely on their own skill to drive. However, they did mess something up. Down here you get cup holders, which, to be honest, they're not the best. You've got these weird things in the middle which are supposed to help stabilise your cup, whatever, but honestly it's just more awkward than anything else. The thing is, right, how come the gods at Mercedes make such a majestic interior, but then mess up the cup holders? I mean, they had one job. Kind of reminds me of a garage I used to know that had one job to fix a car, but refused to do so because it wasn't their usual MOT. In the back, you find an armrest and plenty of legroom. The new car has 455 litres of boot space, which is enough to fit a large Planet. Whereas in this car, you only have to make do with 445 litres, which is enough only to fit a medium-sized Planet instead. Speaking of the boot, it actually has quite a fancy feature. Say you're at the supermarket, carrying shopping back to the car, you pull out the key, and the key has a boot release button on it. So you press that, boot opens, shove your shopping in, and away you go. Now, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. You see, most motoring journalists don't tell you this, but Mercedes, they have weird handbrakes. Rather than a lever like you got most cars of this era, you actually get like a fourth foot brake, where you press that down and that engages the handbrake. To release it, you have to press another lever down here. Now, I don't really like that because it seems like reinventing the wheel for no reason. The only real benefit of having that is the center console is tidier. The good news is that the new cars, they don't have that really bizarre handbrake system. They have like a normal switch, like most modern cars have. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. The real question is, what is this car actually like to drive? In a word, quite. It's nothing that's going to rival a Rolls-Royce, don't get me wrong, but it's way better than anything you get in a BMW these days. I should know. I've owned several BMWs myself, and I can tell you now, all their suspensions are rock hard. This is way more comfortable. Being thrown down a mountain would be more comfortable than they were. The gearbox is a 7-speed semi-automatic, and I'm going to let you guys on another little secret. This is the first car I've ever had with an automatic gearbox, and I have completely fallen in love with it. It changes gear so smoothly, you barely notice it. It's literally like a knife through a bowl of spaghetti. It's that smooth. And right now we're in like an automatic mode where it literally changes gear by itself. But you could easily put it into like a manual mode where you can use the paddle shifts on the back of the steering wheel. And that's where you can pretend you're George Russell in F1. And changing from like park, reverse to neutral to drive, it's so straightforward. It really is. It really makes driving so much easier. Unfortunately, this car does have an Achilles heel, and it lies under the bonnet. Oh dear. That is a microscopical 1.8 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine. It produces 154 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 with the automatic that we've got here, 8.9 seconds. The manual does in 8.7 seconds. Slightly. Those not stats which are going to give Porsche owners a bad night's sleep. In fact, it's not going to get anyone a bad night's sleep. Sorry, just before we move on, yes, although 8.9 seconds is quite slow, the equivalent Audi A4 1.8 TFSI will do it in 8.6 seconds, and the BMW 318i will do it in an embarrassingly slow 9.2 seconds. So it's not even the slowest out of its rivals, although the new C200 would do it in 7.5 seconds. Now, there are benefits to having a small engine. Number one, the car is lighter. This car only weighs 1,238 kilograms, and that means it handles well, and it's good for fuel economy. In fact, Mercedes say that this car should be able to do up to 40 miles to the gallon. The new one does a mildly improved 44 miles to the gallon. With a top speed of 140 miles an hour, it's definitely not what you'd call the Usain Bolt of the car world. Now, I briefly spoke earlier that because the engine is small, it's lighter, and therefore the handling is going to be good. Well, I can tell you now, the handling is exceptional. The steering is so light, and because the car is light itself, it means there's no real roll when you go around a corner. You definitely get the sense that if you took this car on a track day, Nürburgring, whatever, you will have a massive smile on your face. It'll be so fun. You'll be last, you'll get overtaken by everything, but you'd be grinning from wherever. There's more evidence of that too, as the doors and chassis are made out of a heavy steel. The front bumper, bonnet, and front wings are made out of a much lighter aluminium. This will help with weight distribution and the centre of gravity. The good news keeps on coming. As you can see, despite this being quite a long car, it can easily do a turn in the road. Also, despite the small engine, it sounds not too bad at all. At the beginning of this video, I asked a question of, can this car really be better than the brand new C200? And after all you've just seen, the answer is very well maybe, just maybe, it truly is. So, to wrap up then, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that, William, there's no possible way that this car is possibly better than the new one, which is 14 years younger than it. And you're right. The reality is that the new one is exactly the same as this, but where every bit of detail is that every bit better. The thing is the new one worth over £35,000 more than this? And I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. So we're actually selling this car. It's actually active right now on Auto Trader. If you're interested, link will be in the description box below. It rides so well. It really does.